Welcome to the WanderLearn show. I'm your host, Tapon, and in this episode, I have two guests. One of them is Sym Blanchard, who's been on the show many times, and the second one is his girlfriend or sweetheart, Joan Chan. And we talk about various topics on this show, and it's going to be a three-part series, so enjoy this particular episode with Sym and Joan. And don't forget to become a Substack subscriber of my new Substack newsletter at ftapon.substack.com to get rewards, to get cool latest news, as well as this podcast and anything else that I put out on a weekly basis. Thank you again. Appreciate your support and spread the word. Welcome to the WanderLearn show. I'm your host, Tapon. I'm here with Joan Chan and Sym Blanchard, two people who are, well, romantically involved, and they're also raised children long ago. They're both in their early 70s. But when did you have your first child, Joan?
I was 24 when I had my daughter.
And your last one was?
27.
Okay. And you had
two.
Okay.
Daughter
and you have three grandsons?
I have three grandsons. Grandkids.
Children.
Two granddaughters and grandson. Well, it's a kind of blended family. Uh-huh. My daughter had a daughter, and my son-in-law had a daughter, and they got married and had a son together.
Got it. Okay,
yeah, and absolutely lovely kids. And
great kids.
Oh, my God. Just so beautiful. I just love them.
And you, Sym, have one son and then a daughter. I think your son's 38 and your daughter's 36?
Yes. I had them when I was 35.
35.
And 37.
And 37, right. So to me, I find the whole process, the whole nature nurture, and you and I talked about, and there's a great episode featuring Sym and I talking about his experiences of how it was to raise children. And you should go down the links to find that episode. It's a great, profound episode. One of the most profound episodes I think we talked about, because we talked also about how much free will we have, and how much is genetic, how much is environment, how much control did we have as our environment. And one of my changes in my life is the fact that I feel that I've become less of a fan of free will. Not that I don't like it, but just that I don't think it's as much, we don't have as much free will as we think we have, because we don't control our genetics, which is 50% of who we are. The other 50% is environment. And the environment, you don't control your environment for the first 20 years of your life. You didn't, and yet, tell us, Sym, to catch us up, because when we last talked, we talked about his estrangement with his daughter, and yet last week, I believe, you just you had dinner with her.
Yes.
Lunch with it.
Or lunch. Yeah. You had a meal, and then it didn't go well.
Yeah, it was kind of a disaster.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I hadn't talked to her I about every year I say, well, let's get together and, for lunch or something. And she kind of put me off for several years.
And by the way, sorry to interrupt, but you have a fantastic relationship with your son.
Really good. Yeah. And, and so, well, that's the thing. You were talking about raising kids, and my ex-wife and I, we were really diligent about giving them an academic perspective. I mean, they were in Kumon, and
What is Kumon?
Kumon, it's a Japanese learning for math and English and reading. And my ex taught reading for kids, and her dad was a university professor, and so they're very education oriented. And for my son, that really worked. He really responded to that. And it did for my daughter, too, until she turned about 12 or 13. And there was a big bifurcation, and she got was pretty rebellious, I guess. I mean, we could handle it. It was manageable. It wasn't, wild with, guns and knives and stuff.
And also very expected, too.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you expect teenagers.
You expect that.
50% of them at least have to go off the rails.
Yeah, and and I kind of expect that. Well, okay, she's 12. When she's 14, it'll, she'll get reasonable. Okay, maybe 16. Okay, maybe 18, maybe 20. And now she's 36, and she's still in that mode. And one of our lessons was always, don't play the victim. Don't be, take agency. It's not a blame game. You want to take control of your life and be responsible and accountable for what you are, and and go from there. and she never made that
transition.
move, whereas my son does. He's okay, this is my responsibility, and I'm going to make the best of it.
Did your two sons, Joan, one son, one daughter?
I have one daughter and one son.
Yeah.
Yes.
So did you see also an inflection point when they became teenagers?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
And so did one go to the dark side and one went to the light side?
Actually, they're okay. Actually, they both turned out really nicely.
Even as teenagers?
As teenager, they were good kids. They just had a lot of attitude toward me.
As a teenager?
As a teenager.
So that's like a normal teenager?
Yes, it was a normal
both of them?
stage. Both of them,
Okay,
yeah.
so basically, and was your son, Sym, when he was a teenager, was he a little bit difficult?
He's kind of, there's a passive aggressive he'd listen to us, and then he'd do what he wanted to do, which is fine. That's all. That's
what teenagers do.
It's pretty typical.
So it sounds like all four of your children, all were kind of more or less from, if I were to meet them at 14, 15, 16 years old, they all look like pretty typical teenagers.
Oh, yeah,
absolutely.
definitely. Yeah.
Just, they're rebellious. They're kind of setting their
exactly.
boundaries and their limits, but nothing like out of the ordinary. But what happened in the case of the four, only your daughter like kind of stayed in that teenage rebellious angst stage of her life, even though she's now, 20 years older than 16.
Well, I think she needs to have her own kid to understand how parents.
Well, that's a good point.
And so, and both of your children have children.
No, my son doesn't have.
Did you see a transformation in your son and your daughter, Joan, when they had kids, or did they already?
Definitely. My daughter, yeah. Oh my God.
Really?
Oh,
so
yeah.
How old was she when she had a daughter? Or she had
30,
a child?
when she was 30 when
so
she
wait,
had
before 30, she was
kind of pretty snippy with me.
Snippy and distant?
Well, yeah, distant, and I could never do anything right with her.
Okay.
Even after my granddaughter was born, I helped her out a lot because she was a single mother. And I went part-time to help raise my granddaughter. And I felt like that no matter what I did, how much I did, I was not appreciated.
By your daughter?
Yeah, by my daughter.
And she had a daughter?
No, your
daughter had a daughter?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I felt like all I got was just,
grief.
Grief, yes, exactly.
Yeah. Criticism
and grief, and I could never do anything. I guess maybe that's how she felt when she was growing up.
Right.
Because I came from South Korea, and we never talked back to parents.
Right.
We always said, obeyed and whatever. And so we had a culture difference.
Right.
And I really didn't know how to be, more loving, patient and loving mother to my daughter.
And her father, was your husband at the time.
Here, he's Chinese, but was born and raised in here.
But did he have the Chinese culture at that time, or was already bred out of it?
Yes or no, in some ways, and he did, in some ways not.
Okay.
And
so he was like a hybrid.
Yeah, he didn't really know how to connect with his kids.
Okay.
He was a good person, but he didn't know how to connect with the kids. And I was always one who disciplined the kids, and he just let the kids do whatever. So I was always the bad guy.
Right.
And
you're the bad cop.
Yeah, and I was the only one. I was the one who always, with my broken English, would go volunteer at the school, go to PTA meetings.
Right.
And so, I was kind of, I was frustrated a lot. And so I guess that I took that out on my daughter, which I feel so bad that I did that,
And that may have contributed to her 20s.
Probably, yeah.
That she still had some...
She had a lot of resentment towards me.
Which I understand, because I had a lot of struggles with my dad, and I held it against him. I fully admit that.
Yeah.
That even when he was not bothering me in his 60s, I was still not a very kind person to him.
Yeah.
I was short. I was just kind of businesslike.
Yeah.
And it's like...
That's
like
where my daughter was to me for... I knew if I ever needed any help for anything, she would be right there to help me. Both of my kids were. But, she was kind of always, kind kind of snippy with me.
Mm.
But when she turned 40, wow.
Wait, I thought you said she changed when she turned 30 and had a child.
No, well, even after the child, she was always kind of snippy
Oh,
with
even
me.
after the child?
Oh, yeah.
I thought she transformed
No,
at 30.
until, but
The first
when
time.
first 10 years, yeah. After she turned 40, she became totally different person. I was like, wow, what happened? You know, for better.
So by that time, her child was 10 years old.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
so that ruined my thesis because I thought she might change.
No,
At-
yeah, but I mean, she changed
soon-
a lot, but still we were always clashing, and we have still had a lot of conflict and all that. But after she turned 40, to me, she turned, I mean, I can't say 360-degree, but at least a 600-degree.
Didn't she
Mhm.
write
Yeah.
a letter to you that was, or told you that she really appreciated it?
Oh, she did. Yeah. I mean, when she was, well, you know, like I said, when she was growing up, because of the different culture, I didn't understand the teenagers here, like people grew up here. And so we had a lot of issues. But when she went to college, she sent me a really nice card that she appreciated what I did for her. And one day she called me about 6 months later when she went to college. I said, "What do you need?" She goes, I don't need anything. I just called to say hello and talk to you." I said, "Yeah, but you don't do that. You only call me when you need something."
Right.
She goes, "No, Mom, I just called to say hi." I said, "Well, what do you really need?" And she said, "Mom, I just called to say hello and just
And
talk
this was
to you."
22?
Well, that was when she was in college.
Yeah, 20
Yes,
or something.
like about 20.
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, that sounds
So
good."
she
I
was
said,
turning a corner there.
I guess already, yeah.
Slowly.
Yeah.
But then, and kept turning after 30.
Yeah.
But then a big inflection at 40.
40, yeah, it's true, yeah. So then she told me, you know, all the times that we were growing up, you were talking to us. You didn't think that we were listening, but we were listening to you, which really was a touching moment for me.
Right.
And she said, because of you, look at us, and we want to go to school and be somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so many of their friends, my kids' friends, high school dropout, got pregnant at 14, 15 sometimes, some kids. And a lot of them are druggies and alcoholic. She says, "Mom, look at us. Because of you, we're trying to go to school and trying to be somebody." And she says, I appreciate that so much. It really touched my
Of course.
heart, you know, when she said that.
And she was 20-ish.
Somewhere there, yeah, like that, you know. So, yeah. But I feel I always carry that with me, that I wish I was a more kind, loving mother to them. But my daughter, my son will both say, "You did your best, Mom." You know, so that makes me feel better.
Of course.
So, I think if you grew up in this country, I think you're more understanding. You understand more of the teenagers because you grew up the way
they did.
How things are here.
Right.
Yeah, I grew up totally different culture, different environment. You know, we never talk back to parents, and we just say yes, yes, and you know, we always respect it, even though the elders are wrong. You know, we never fought back, but you know, kids here different. You know, so I really had a hard time, but you know.
Do you think that our system, Sym, is better or just different or worse than, let's say?
I guess it's a bit, some parts are worse and some parts are better, you know. Yeah.
What do you think, Sym?
I don't know their system very well, but I like our system. Of course, and my,
even though you're paying the price.
Yeah. Well, my perspective is different in that, you know, growing up, we had the resources and we had the time. My ex-wife and I, you know, we waited 5 years before we had kids. And so, and I was a good position career-wise, and so was my ex-wife. And so we just did all sorts of things with the kids and, you know, really, you know, I thought we did really well. And even afterwards, and I talked to my ex-wife and she says, "Yeah, I think we did it. We did it really well." but then you talk to my kids and it's like, oh yeah. We had to go to Kuman and we
Maybe
I
you
had
pushed
I had
too hard.
400 fun things to do in Northern California, and I took them on 300 of them.
Oh man.
They kind of got tired of it, and we hit every single mission. So in California, the
Wow.
Spanish mission. So yeah, some of that stuff I'm sure we could have done without. But at the end, we tried the best we could, like Joan.
Yeah.
And and for some of the one kid, it's the best thing ever, and for another kid,
Yeah.
it doesn't work for them. So
Yeah. Yeah, being a parent is a hard thing. The
Why?
hardest thing I ever done.
Why?
I guess because for one thing, especially when you have a first child, you don't know what you're doing, a lot of times because you never, and in my case, nobody taught me how to be a parent, I mean, I grew up with 5 other siblings, but my parents, I grew up in the farm in Korea, rural country. They were busy working in the farm always. And we had 10 people in the family. So we were always busy cooking and cleaning and working in the farm. So my parents really didn't have a lot of time to spend time with us. Connect with us. Yeah. So I really didn't know how to be good, loving, patient mother, I guess,
Right.
I wish I was more, if I could do it again, I'd be much loving and more patient mother.
What about you, Sym?
Well, I just wanted to mention Joan is that way to her grandkids. She has the patience, she has the time.
Thank goodness for grandkids.
So she's able to do it for
Is
her
there any
grandkids.
message you would want to send to your grandkids in case, because some of them are, what's the youngest grandkid?
9 years old.
Oh, he's already pretty old.
Yeah. I
Or-
just love my grandkids and I wish them to be, to grow up to be successful in all aspects of their lives. And maybe, hopefully there'll be people who are service to society, not the burden. I don't,
Right.
I'd be happy if they're not
Contribute.
contributing people. Exactly.
Right.
That's
As
what I
opposed to
want.
leeches.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for.
Mistakes that you may have made, Sym, as a father?
Probably treating kids the same, to
I mean, treating them both the same.
yeah,
equally,
yeah.
Which is interesting because that's what,
Well,
other
that's
people.
what you want to do. Most
You would,
of the time.
yeah, you would think you'd want that, but everybody's different, and so
that's true.
the amount of discipline you enforce on one may not be the same you want.
Yeah, and to an extent, it gets to a point where, well, do I need a psychology degree, and should I go for a master's in child development? And and you can read all the books and everything, but in the end, you just kind of have to go with your gut. I mean, here's who I am, and I'm I'm your dad, and this is the way it is to a certain extent. And okay, deal with it.
Right.
Doing the best I can. Yeah. So I don't know what I'd do differently. I don't know. I enjoyed going to see the 400 best fun things to do in Northern California.
Maybe for you, but not for kids.
Yeah. After a certain point, I'm sure.
What, they were just tired of it?
Yeah. And then we
Probably,
stopped. And then we didn't do it anymore.
Right.
But
there was a checklist that you're just going through slowly but surely.
Yeah.
It's not like you did it all in one summer.
No. And it kind of got the kids out of the house so my ex-wife could clean and have time to herself.
Does your daughter have a okay relationship with your ex-wife or mom?
It's off and on. She didn't talk to her for about a number of years, and then she did, and I'm not sure where they're at now, but it's
so
hard.
try to explain this. I mean, like, you did a great job with your son. It's connected well with him, and yet your daughter somehow. Do you think it's just genetic wiring, that the way she's just wired is such that she's still kind of in teenage mode? She even said to you at your meal, like, well, we're not gonna have a relationship, you and I, Sym.
Yeah.
Unless you are,
A
supporting
supporter.
me financially. Like, that's something like a teenager could say.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
at
a teenager.
36.
But
it's like,
36.
I'm kind of, well, you should be supporting me.
Right.
Well, that's what we were doing in Korea, and
Right.
you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
it's,
n-
in East Asian society, it's unthinkable to be. Well, it's not, it does happen, but it's
Well, things are different now.
yeah.
Yeah,
It
that
does
they're
happen.
they're so westernized now, and
Yeah. So, but in
Yeah.
the past, and certainly in African society, there's the tables turn once there's a people become elderly.
Mm.
Then the children have a duty
Yeah.
to support their parents.
Yeah.
It's just automatic. You don't even debate it.
Do they still
just-
do that
In Africa, yes. In most
of-
parts of Africa, yes.
Well, Koreans were like that too, but not anymore.
Okay,
they don't
interesting.
do that
Yeah,
anymore.
you see that in Southeast Asia. It's still the
Oh.
traditional.
Oh yeah, some I guess some countries still
Yeah.
do. Yeah,
But
yeah.
but Sim, but and she so trying to understand her. I mean, I'm sure
Yeah.
you spend a lot more time trying to hit your self over your head on this. Like, if you got in a time machine, what could you have done differently, or your mom, her mom, anything,
I don't know.
or just she's just the way it
You
is.
know, I think you do the best way you can possibly raise your kids, and what they do when they're old enough to do, it's up to them.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not parents is
You've done
You-
you've done as much as
Yeah,
you could.
their
Exactly.
peers are a bigger influence than their parents.
yeah
Sure.
So-
exactly, and you can't always blame on your parents.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
but it seems like that's what she's doing.
She had good peers, but I don't know.
Yeah.
So then that ruins your theory that peers. If she had good peers, then
Well, there was a couple that maybe she was the instigator. I don't know. I'm sure they were smoking pot. And I'm not sure what they were.
right. But a lot of teenagers smoke pot and they get done with it as they become
Yeah,
adults. I mean, there's
they do. Yeah.
the litany of things that teenagers do that are stupid. It's just endless. But,
Yeah, yeah.
but the whole idea is that that's a phase.
Yeah,
But
that's what I was
so
hoping.
maybe it took Joan's daughter 40 years to finally completely snap out of her thing. So maybe
Yeah.
at 36,
Maybe,
she's got 4 more
hopefully.
years. Maybe she's gonna.
We're
I mean,
hoping.
testosterone levels diminish in men
Yeah,
dramatically as they age, and that's a really good thing because men, when they're above 50, are very reasonable people,
Yeah,
and they're complete dicks when
Yeah.
they're like 20,
exactly.
and difficult people. So maybe
Hopefully, yeah.
there's some hormonal change that happens in their
Maybe.
40s.
I just
Maybe.
read there are 5 stages of brain development. 9 years old, and then you switch over to like 16, and then
Yeah.
25. And
Yeah, makes
and
sense.
60. Then it switches over completely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, you lose a lot of the aggressiveness and yeah.
But do you think that she did you have a chance to ask her if she wants children? Because according to Joan, and maybe, we've been talking about this idea that maybe that can sometimes be an unlock.
I think it is, because when you have your own kids,
You fuck up.
Yeah, you see what
You're
you
fuck
know,
ups.
Yeah, yeah. You
And you're like,
realize
"Oh."
what I did, what they did to
Right.
their parents, and
Now I know
yes.
why my mom was a disciplinarian.
Yeah.
I know why she was a
Yeah,
disciplinarian.
exactly. So maybe I don't know if I think maybe when you have a kids, it's a most likely more understand your parents better.
Right.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I think a lot of kids, a lot of people realize that they won't be good parents. They haven't made that switch, and they're not mature enough, and they realize they're not, and they'll never go through that.
I
And
guess that's
so-
true. Yeah.
And
Which is
thank God
okay.
that they have that self-awareness, because
Exactly.
they would just
Yeah.
ruin another life.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they'll have
yeah.
they'll torture some kid by having kids prematurely.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And-
Yeah, she's
And
been
that
very
happens,
responsible
yeah.
that way.
Right.
She hasn't had
That's
kids.
which is good
and I
in a
think
way.
she-
Yeah.
Because she's not ready for them,
Yeah.
apparently. It seems like.
Yeah.
Because if anybody who's not going to be a good parent, you should not have kids.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's no way to triangulate her. In other words, like to
No.
understand like her peers, her friends, like maybe sometimes children are a dick to their parents,
Yeah.
but they're perfectly normal and great to everybody else.
Oh, that definitely.
That
yeah.
happens.
That happens.
And
a lot,
so
yeah.
that's my question: is you can triangulate and try to understand, like, is your daughter maybe just like if I met her on the street or whatever at a party and I just started talking with her, maybe I would say like, oh, she's completely normal.
Yeah,
great
I think you
person,
would.
maybe,
I think
yeah.
you would. Yeah,
She
she's historically had a lot of issues, like with roommates and employers
And boyfriends.
and boyfriends. She just broke up with a long-term boyfriend.
Right.
I don't know what the particulars are, but she hasn't been able to have a long-term relationship, and I think she was serious.
Well, she had a long-term relationship. She hasn't been able to keep it.
Yeah.
She dated him for what, 2-3 years?
I
maybe?
don't know,
You don't
something
know.
like that.
Yeah. So I mean, that is a long term, but it's not. It didn't last.
No.
Right.
And I mean, I can see why, the way she treats me.
Right, but then you don't know if she's treating him the same way.
Exactly.
Maybe.
You don't know.
Exactly.
We're just speculating.
Yeah.
Well, if you're listening, daughter, no, I'm just
I know.
I don't think she is.
No, but otherwise she's a great kid.
Yeah.
And I did have a wonderful time raising them, up until 12 or 13, which everybody does.
Yeah.
And my son also. So we had two grandkids.
Oh, yeah.
And
They're adorable.
yeah,
Yeah.
wonderful kids. And great wife. So
Well, that is some reflections on parenting journey with Sym and Joan. And I hope if you have any comments yourself, put them in the comments below and write it in. Don't forget to go to my Substack. And my initials are FTAPON, Tapon. Again, this is Francis Tapon, encouraging you to wander and learn. Thank you for listening all the way to the end of this WanderLearn show. I am now using Substack.com to deliver my podcast and weekly newsletter, so please subscribe to my free Substack newsletter by using the link in the show notes. Or, if you've got a good memory, browse to ftapon.substack.com. Why ftapon? Well, it's my first initial and my last name. In fact, whatever social media app you use, including YouTube, if you search for ftapon, you'll find me. So connect with me. My website is also ftapon.com. Do you have an idea, question, or comment? Leave me an anonymous voicemail at speakpipe.com/ftapon. Lastly, become a WanderLearner by joining my paid subscriptions on Substack or patreon.com/ftapon. Wherever you join, I will reward you regularly. Tell your friends to subscribe to the WanderLearn Show. If you review the WanderLearn Show, I'll share your review on a future episode. This is Francis Tapon, encouraging you to wander and learn.